Hello people. Today we're going to cover attributes and combat abilities. So let's begin. Strength increases your damage with strength based weapons and skills and provides a bonus to physical armor. What it actually means, each point into strength will provide bonus in damage for characters that wield strength oriented items like this one. Under properties, level 6 requires strength 11. It means it's strength-based weapon. 1 point would add 5% damage and plus 2% physical armor. Strength is good on tanks, warfare characters, and maybe on Polymorph, but mainly for melee tank characters. Finesse. Finesse increases your damage with finesse-based weapons and skills and provides a bonus to dodging. Usually spears and daggers, bows and crossbows scale with finesse. 1 point of finesse would add 5% damage bonus and plus 1% dodge bonus. Dodge is your chance to evade attacks, and you'll get your chance from finesse and from dual wielding combat ability. It also adds damage and dodging, same as finesse, damage and dodging. Very good for Scoundrels, for Huntsman, as I said, spears, daggers, bows and crossbows. Next in line is Intelligence. It increases your damage with intelligence-based weapons and skills and provides a bonus to magic armor. Over here we got physical armor, magic armor, and vitality, health, HP on a red bar. Blue bar is magic armor. The more intelligence you got, the bigger your magic armor is. Plus, it's gonna scale with intelligence-based spells. For example, like Mosquito Swarm here, a Necromancy spell. Under Special, under 100% chance to set bleeding, it says damage is based on your level and receives bonus from intelligence. It scales with intelligence. Basically, it's gonna deal more and more damage the higher your intelligence attribute is. Very good for enchanters, wizards, in other words, pyromancy, geomancy, aeroturge, hydrosophy, and necromancy. Constitution, there is no, well, nothing to say about constitution. It's just gonna determine how much vitality you have, or better to say your HP pool, the red bar. Very good on all characters. Of course, your tanks should have more constitution, your ranged characters less. Memory affects your amount of memory slots which are required to learn skills. More powerful skills cost more memory slots. Base slots for this character, for example, are 5, and you get every extra slot for 1 point put into memory. What that basically means is this: you get this free memory slots here where you can input your spells like this. So the bigger your memory is, the more spells you can learn and equip, and it's a absolute must on every character. So memory, you should always put your attribute points into memory. Wits affects your critical chance, initiative, and your ability to detect traps and find hidden treasures. Very important. There are a lot of traps in Divinity Original Sin 2. There are a lot of hidden treasures and objects and hidden stuff in Divinity Original Sin 2, so the higher your wits are, the better you'll detect them. Plus, on top of that, it's giving you critical chance, basically percentage, when your critical attack will proc, and initiative. Initiative is a very important thing in this game, and it's gonna determine whether you play first or your opponents. The higher your initiative is, the faster your play. Very, very good for squishy characters, for squishy build presets, especially for Scoundrel, Wizard, or a character with bow and crossbow. If they play first, of course you could apply some damage, maybe some stuns or some buffs on your characters. It's very useful. If enemy has the initiative and plays first, you'll always, well, kinda always receive the damage first. Only your tank, your main tank, should not worry about initiative, because your main tank should withstand attacks. But the rest of your squishy characters should always have high initiative. The only trade-off where it's actually bad is for Wizard, because he needs intelligence and memory, and you just can't allow to put some points into initiative, into wits, because you're gonna lose on memory and intelligence, and that's very important for mages. Next, regular damage. Of course, when you go with a strength character, Warfare is gonna scale with strength. When you go with Scoundrel, it's gonna scale with finesse. When you apply Pyromancy, for example, on a Pyrokinetic, on a Wizard, it's gonna scale with, as it says here, from Pyrokinetic, plus 5% more damage. It all depends. For example, staffs here scale with intelligence, and here you can see from intelligence plus 20%. Critical chance, already explained it. The higher your critical chance is, the more likely you'll deal critical damage. Critical multiplier is higher damage on critical strikes. The higher it is, the more your criticals will hurt. Accuracy, also very important. Your chance to hit with basic attacks, skills and spells. Dodge is your ability to evade attacks. The more dodge you got, the bigger the chance that the enemy will miss your characters. Physical armor, already explained that. It's the gray line here. Magic armor, already explained it. It's here. Physical armor, in order to apply effects like cripple, prone, knockdown, stun, and similar stuff, you'll need to remove enemies' physical armor and then apply some of those affinities. In order to break through enemies' magic armor, you'll need to remove it and then apply stuns, freezing, and similar stuff with your spells and skills from your mages. Movement is the distance you can run with one action point. Basically the distance that you can cover in one turn. It all depends. Tanks usually have slow movement, Scoundrels have the strongest movement speed. Initiative, already explained it, very important when you want to play first during battle. Experience to the next level. From resistances we also get fire resist, water resist, earth resist, air resist, and poison resist. Next, combat abilities. Weapons. Dual wielding, you can dual wield two one-handed weapons or dual wield daggers. I highly recommend daggers. I haven't yet tried dual wielding one-handed weapons. Ranged, for bows and crossbows, each point will add damage and critical chance. Same goes with this, it's gonna add damage and dodging. Single-handed will add damage with single-handed weapons and with a shield or empty in offhand. It adds plus 5% damage and 2% to accuracy. Two-handed for staffs, maces, axes, and two-handed swords. It's gonna add damage and critical multiplier. I already explained what critical multiplier is. Leadership is very interesting, and I loved it in Divinity Original Sin 1. I also think it's good here, although I think that radius is a bit reduced. It's only 5 meters. I think it was more than 5 meters in Divinity Original Sin 1. I'm not sure, I'll need to check. But basically what it gives your whole team, a character that's got leadership on, will give the rest of the party a percent to dodge, and a chance to dodge, and a percentage to all resistances, basically to this: fire, water, earth, air, and poison resist. A very, very good defensive combat ability. Preservance restores magic armor after you recover from frozen or stun, and restores physical armor after knockdown or petrified. I really think this is the weakest combat ability in the game. Maybe they'll change it in a game full release, maybe not, but for now I really don't like it. Let's go to the next one. Retribution reflects received damage to your attacker. Damage reflection, basically Thorn Mail, classical Thorn Mail. Very good, maybe for a tank with a shield. You put 10 points into Retribution, you gain some spells and skills with Taunt. You taunt all the enemies, and then when they hit you, they'll apply Retribution, and you're gonna deal, for example, with 10 points in Retribution, you'll retaliate 100% of your damage received from enemies. It's worth a shot, and I'll definitely try this one out, because I love tanky characters. Skills. We already passed through that in another videos, just a quick check here. Added Urge increases all damage you deal to magic armor, basically lightning spells, and some utility like TP. Geomancy, poison damage, and physical armor restoration. Or in other words, for offensive you deal poison damage with your skills and spells, maybe some earth damage too, and for defensive spells in Geomancy you could restore your armor, for instance. Huntsman increases the damage bonus when attacking from high ground. So far I don't like Huntsman. If you go with a ranged character, it's far better to go with 1 point into Huntsman and put the rest of points into range. So Huntsman will basically raise your damage when you're standing above your enemies on a battlefield. Hydrosophy, water damage, water spells, they apply healing when played defensively, and freezing or cold damage, water damage, when they're played offensively. Plus they can restore your magic armor too, with buffs. Necromancy will heal you whenever you deal damage to vitality. Damage from reflection effects yields half heal. Necromancy is, in other words, lifesteal. Classical lifesteal spells. You deal damage and you receive some HP. Next, Polymorph. Each point that you put into Polymorph will give you 1 free attribute point, or better to say 1 point that you can invest into Strength, Finesse, Intelligence, Constitution, Memory, or Wits. Very useful to have Polymorph on every character. 1 point on every character. At the start of the game, you'll get a free attribute point, and you can cast some Polymorph skills, like turn opponent into chicken when they're out of their physical armor. Very bloody useful to have a chicken on every character and 1 point into Polymorph. Pyrokinetic increases all fire damage that you'll deal, or in other words, it also has some boosts too, like haste to give more action points and better initiative to your characters, to your party. You can target yourself, you can target anyone from your party, and on top of that, it's gonna increase your fire skills and spells by 5% for each point that you invest into Pyrokinetic. Scoundrel increases movement speed and boosts your critical modifier. What it basically does, it gives you critical multiplier that you're when you crit. When you backstab, you usually always crit. This Scoundrel skill will basically give you higher crits, more damage with your crits, and more movement speed. Very useful for Scoundrels and absolutely perfect spell for them, and you should always invest points into Scoundrels. Summoning, it increases vitality, damage, physical armor, and magic armor of your summons and totems. Classical summoner, you'll summon totems, you'll summon incarnates. In a full game release, you'll be able to summon even bigger incarnates, demons, and regular stuff like that, like spiders and similar things. And then you'll boost them with more damage, with some other skills and spells. You can give them Whirlwind, Battering Ram, they can apply Knockdown, Bleeding, and it all depends on what surface you spawn your incarnates or totems. If there's for example, let's use blood surface here. There is, for example, blood under, or let's say on the battlefield, and you apply your incarnate on blood or your totem on blood, you're gonna create blood incarnate or blood totem. Summoning was very weak in alpha. I think it's getting a very good buff in a full game release, and I think it's gonna be good. They should balance it a lot. For each point that you'll invest in summon, your incarnates, totems, and minions will gain 10% more vitality, damage, physical, and magic armor. And the last in line, Warfare, probably my favorite. It acts exactly the same as in Divinity Original Sin 1, but this time the only changed thing is that thing with physical armor. The more points basically you put into Warfare, the more damage you'll deal to enemies' physical armor. For each point into Warfare, you'll deal plus 10% more damage to physical armor. In other words, if you put 10 points into Warfare, you'll deal 100% damage to enemies' physical armor. I think we covered everything, attributes and combat abilities, and that's the last video for Alpha. The game release is tomorrow. I can't wait for it, and I'll be seeing you on my stream very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.